Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
Look, in a country like ours, we should not have people dying of hunger, but I'm not sure where their next meal is coming. Yet that's exactly what is happening. Why is that, Kate?
Well, they say that poverty is one of the leading causes of hunger in South Africa. So as we know, we have a huge problem with poverty and unemployment. So that's definitely linked to the reason why people are hungry. And then if you go look at slightly closer, people who are on medication, if they're not receiving a meal, then they aren't able to take their medication. So that's also having a huge impact on their health, and in general, malnutrition and hunger impact on people's health in general.
Kate, we know that almost 9 million tons of food are wasted every year in the country. The large majority of this food doesn't even make it into the marketplace. Why? How do we address these weak distribution mechanisms?
Well, as you said, a lot of produce does not make it to the market at all, and that can be for a number of reasons. But normally it's because the product is not of a high enough quality to be sold, but it's definitely good enough quality to be eaten quite happily by yourself and myself. So what needs to happen is potentially the ways of harvesting need to be slightly improved so that that produce can get to market. But the real issue is that food can be rescued. But a food rescue program is not a cheap program to run. There's a huge amount of logistics that goes on behind it, and in order to rescue all the produce that goes to waste, there needs to be quite a big logistic operation behind that. So it needs, Food Bank, for example, does that kind of rescue program, but it's expensive and we need support in order to expand.
Kate, what is a food bank and what does that process entail?
Well, Food Bank South Africa offers a cost-effective solution to the problem of hunger by providing the logistics behind a food rescue program. So if I can just give you a simple example, we partner with a number of retailers and food manufacturers, and food that is past its sell-by date but is still within its use-by date and it's completely edible, we rescue that food. Also food that has incorrect packaging or packaging that's slightly damaged but the food hasn't been compromised. That food we collect, we take it to our warehouse and repackage it, and then we distribute to some of the organizations that we support across the country. And that's the idea behind food banking.
Tell us your intention behind the fasting campaign today, and do you feel it's having the desired momentum you'd like to see on the ground?
Well, what we've asked people to do is to go onto our website and register for the Food Bank SA 12-hour fast. We've asked people to make a 40 Rand donation, which covers the cost of feeding a person for a month, and also to fast from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, which is World Hunger Day. And the reason we've asked that is because we want to connect people with the reality of what it's like for so many hungry people in the country. And we've had such a positive response. It's really been overwhelming. People have really gotten on board. They've started a conversation about hunger in South Africa, and it seems like they've really connected with the message and the problem, and there's a lot of support.
Kate, in a nutshell, we want a South Africa where every person has enough to eat and no child goes to bed hungry or goes to school hungry. How do we achieve this?
Well, South Africa is in the fortunate position of producing enough food for its entire nation. So what we need to make sure is that we have programs such as Food Bank's Food Rescue Program in place to make sure that people have access to food, because often people aren't able to afford the food. But there's also another challenge, which is the food that's gone to waste, which can be rescued, is not where the need is greatest. So in order to get the food to where people need it most, we need to have programs such as Food Bank's Food Rescue Program promoted and supported by the public.
Thank you. That's Kate Hamilton from Food Bank South Africa. Moving on, French police have now expelled about 800 migrants from